everyone, welcome to Spiral Emanations. This is the podcast where we look behind the news and try to figure out what's really going on out there. I'm Sky Gracely in LA, and as always, I've got Reese Barrows over in London. Hey, Reese.
Hi, Sky. Hi, everyone. If it's strange, mysterious, or even a little spooky, we love to talk about it.
Before we get into the headlines, can I tell you about my week? I went line dancing for the first time. I wore my moonstone bracelet, thought I'd bring some good energy. About 20 minutes in, it just snapped. The beads rolled everywhere. Suddenly, the whole class stopped and started helping me find all the pieces. It was kind of sweet.
Oh, wow. Did you get them all back?
Almost. Maybe it was the floor's way of needing a little moonstone upgrade. Who knows? Sometimes I feel like little things like that are signs or part of something bigger we don't see yet. My grandma always said weird little things like that happen right before something important is about to surface. Like old secrets aren't really buried forever.
That's been on my mind, too. I had a weird moment this week. Went to a tea shop, cape and all, and managed to spill candle wax right on my sleeve. The barista said he saw a fox in the wax and said it's supposed to mean cleverness is in the air. Felt like a random omen, but lately, it's hard not to wonder if these odd moments are connected to a bigger story.
Yeah, especially since the news right now is full of strange discoveries. Lost gold, shipwrecks, ancient castles. Whenever I see these stories start stacking up, I always wonder if it's just luck or maybe history trying to tell us something, you know?
They say treasures turn up when the world's about to change. Every era seems to have its own mysterious cycle. Maybe this is ours.
Oh, and before we jump in, thank you to Brian, our audio wizard. He keeps us from sounding like echoing caves.
Thanks, Brian. All right, let's talk about why every newspaper this month reads like a treasure map.
Let's do it. Maybe all these signs are the start of something bigger. So Reese, all this talk about omens, did you notice how many treasure headlines there were this week? I mean, it feels like every time I check my phone, something ancient just turned up or disappeared.
I know, it's gotten kind of weird. Gold and silver coming out of the ground in one country, priceless stuff vanishing from museums in another. It's almost like there's some connection. Even Brian, who usually just laughs when we get into this, has been keeping a list, and he actually looked kind of rattled.
All right, let's catch everyone up. First, over in Bohemia, that's in the Czech Republic, archaeologists just found hundreds of old coins, plus bronze jewelry and this tiny horse statue, just in a random field. Wild.
Yeah. What's odd is, some of the coins have notches or grooves that don't fit any known design. The museum team said it doesn't match anything else they've catalogued. This is from the Czech Academy of Sciences. They don't know what to make of it.
And it's not just in Europe. In Florida, which is famous for old shipwrecks, a salvage team found almost $1 million in gold and silver coins. These came from a Spanish ship that sank in a hurricane back in 1715.
Here's something you don't hear every day. Some coins were stuck together by bits of metal wire. It's not normal for coins to be found like that. The Florida Division of Historical Resources confirmed it, but there's no clear answer for why.
Plus, on the island of Islay in Scotland, where they're always making whiskey, archaeologists found a huge medieval castle no one knew was there. The team said the oldest stones have veins of gold and crystal in them.
And a few people on the dig said the stones made a kind of humming sound at night. Might just be imagination, but it's strange, right?
And for every find, there's a loss. Just this year, someone stole a 3,000-year-old gold bracelet from Pharaoh Amenemhotep's tomb in the Egyptian museum. It was melted down, gone for good.
And that's happened before. Denmark lost the golden horns, these famous gold artifacts, back in the 1800s. Belgium had the Child Eric hoard vanish in a museum theft almost 2 centuries ago. Even last year, the British Museum lost over 1,800 pieces, many of them gold or ritual objects. Official reasons never really fit.
It keeps happening over and over. And sometimes the museum records just don't match up. What's logged one week is just different the next.
Yeah, there are even stories of labels and lists changing, with nobody remembering who did it. They call it a bookkeeping error, but maybe it's more.
I don't know about you, but I feel like all these finds and losses can't just be chance. There's something about the timing. It really feels like something's going on.
Right. I almost never think stuff's connected like this, but lately, I don't know.
So, I'm really interested to hear what tonight's guest thinks. Because honestly, none of these headlines seem as simple as we're being told.
Before we go any deeper, Sky, ready for our guest?
Yep, let's do it.
We've got Dr. Tomas Hruby tonight. If there's a lost treasure or coin in Europe, he probably knows something secret about it. Tomas, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Reese. Sky, I follow the strange path with coins. Lately, the news, gold, artifacts lost and found, these are not accidents. They're signals in a much longer story.
You mean this connects to something ancient?
Yes, more than 2,000 years ago, people all over Europe and parts of the East built what I call the Numinous Lattice, a real network. Artifacts of gold and silver shaped with spirals, lines, special symbols. It worked like a circuit, not myth, but something engineered. When the lattice was whole villages would move and dream as one.
And was it only in Europe?
It spread far. The first grid was built by shamans and refugees from lost places, even Atlantean legends. Later the druids guarded nodes, but with every generation, someone tried to awaken it fully. Romans, Templars, even Napoleonic generals.
Did it ever really work? Like, did anyone actually turn it on?
Several times. The worst was the so-called bubble event. In early Iron Age, during a great ritual, the grid overloaded. People across half a continent lost language or memory. History twisted. That's why in records, sometimes the city just vanishes or everyone forgets a king. Documents change, sometimes even maps.
That sounds big. Who's actually fighting over this today? Are there real organizations?
Yes, there are the Guardians, often silent, like Division 10 in the East, Ordo Custodia from the Vatican's Scottish line. They watch, sometimes melt or scatter dangerous fragments to prevent disaster. On the other side, Seekers, rogue archaeologists, black collection brokers, the Black Lodge, try to put it together, risking catastrophe for secret knowledge.
So all these museum thefts, objects getting melted, they might not always be thieves. Sometimes it's, sabotage?
Yes, official stories hide the real reason. Often, it is to break the chain before another outbreak. The Amenemhotep bracelet, the golden horns, the Napoleonic hoard, destroyed on purpose.
And what would a modern outbreak look like?
Small ones happen now. Impossible memories, shared dreams, sudden waves of déjà vu, or museum records quietly changing. If a full node is rebuilt, local time slips, group trance, even news stories that just rewrite overnight. Few remember what it was before.
That's a lot to take in.
Yes, if listeners see gold, silver, strange engraved lines, especially coins with notches or bluestone, and feel awed, pay attention. Sometimes history itself is asking for a witness.
Tomas, when you say these coins and treasures fit together, what actually happens if someone, gets it right? Not just myth, but for real.
It's very real. Old records say when the fragments are joined the right way, on the right ground, a strange feeling fills the air. Hair stands on end, people see flashes of light, feel a deep hum in their bones. Sometimes the whole group moves together, almost like they're connected. But if too much power runs through, like at the old Babel event, everything just falls apart. People forget who they are. Languages break. It gets messy fast.
Wait, so you're saying there have been times when people just lost memory or history shifted because of this?
Yes, sometimes after a big find, museum staff mislabel artifacts or can't remember moving things. In the past, there were times when entire villages forgot their history or carvings changed overnight. Always after someone tried to rebuild the lattice.
That's a little creepy, honestly. Do you think anyone's trying to rebuild it now?
There are always people who try. Some really believe it can help. Others work to break it up fast before it gets out of control. That's why you sometimes hear about stolen gold getting melted down or missing objects after a break-in.
Have you ever felt anything yourself, Tomas? Like, just from handling one of these coins?
Yes. Once I held two fragments together and got a shock up my arm. That night, I dreamed in flashes, bright gold streets, voices, symbols. Next morning, my notes on the coins didn't match what I remembered. It was unsettling.
So, if someone listening finds something weird, like a coin with patterns or notches, what should they look for?
Look for unusual marks, spirals, grooves, odd shapes that fit together. If you get chills or suddenly remember things differently, write it down. Sometimes museum labels change. Even if it seems small, keep a record. It might be important.
Wow, so it's still going on. That makes we don't know what the podcast is going for. Don't fuck up on my side.
It's always been like this. The cycle keeps coming back. More finds, more risks. We have to pay attention.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in.
I'm definitely looking at my own coin collection differently after tonight. So, Tomas, if all these discoveries and thefts aren't random, if this cycle is starting up again, what does that mean? Could something big actually happen?
Yes, Sky. Each time these lattice fragments come together, like the gold hoard, sunken coins, that castle, it raises the risk. If anybody manages to activate a real node, things could go sideways fast.
Like how? What's the worst you've seen or read about?
It starts small. People near a site feel déjà vu, or they have strong dreams about lost places, strange languages. Records start to change, labels in museums, logs, things like that. But if the lattice wakes up, you get odd lights in the sky, electronics act up, sometimes people lose time. There are old stories about whole towns forgetting what happened, or suddenly remembering things that never were.
It's really unsettling.
Yeah, it is. So who's trying to control these artifacts now? Is this all thieves? So off.
You have a few groups that are organized. There's Division X in Eastern Europe and the Ordo Custodia. They try to break up or hide the dangerous stuff. Sometimes they really do destroy it. And then there's the Black Lodge. They want to put pieces together, maybe to start a new lattice cycle.
So what if someone listening finds a coin or something odd? Can it hurt them?
It can. If you get a real fragment, like a gold disc with spirals or notches, and especially if it wants to connect with something else. If you notice tingling, a weird buzz, or if you feel drawn to arrange them, that's a sign. Best thing is, keep things apart, write down details, and don't try to assemble a set just because you're curious. That's when things can get dangerous.
So, if you start seeing small changes, labels, names, things in your local museum, what should people do?
Just keep a written record. Snap photos, trust your notes. If things move or change, your memory is what you have left. Don't rely just on digital files.
And honestly, just talking about this or sharing all this history, could that set anything off?
Sometimes telling the story is all it takes for something to shift. But talking is also how you defend against it. If you notice something's different and you say it out loud, you help keep the truth grounded.
So, we're in the middle of it, basically.
You always were. Anyone who's paying attention, even just listening, is involved now.
Wow, okay, I am definitely going to pay more attention from here on out. That really does send a shiver up my spine. Tomas, thank you for being here. I'm looking closer at everything on my bookshelf now.
Thank you, Sky. And if you, or anyone listening, find a coin or artifact with strange marks, or feel like a piece of history has quietly changed, don't ignore it. Sometimes, especially lately, I get anonymous emails, unsigned, about new fragments surfacing. I suspect that's Division X, watching for lattice echoes. Nobody can do this alone.
That's what makes all of this so intriguing and a little unnerving. Even the smallest details matter.
If you spot something odd, a keepsake that feels different, or even just a town story that shifts, let us know. We want to hear what the lattice brings your way.
Keep track of your dreams. If you find a symbol or word you've never known, write it down. You might be more involved than you realize.
With that, we'll say goodnight, and thanks for being part of this with us.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember, you're part of the cycle just by tuning in tonight. Good night from Los Angeles.
Good night from Pilsen.
Good night from London.
Goodbye.